Welcome back, Mariners Engineers. This video is an introduction to the tool Sweep. One of my favorite tools. It's not something that you have lots of reason to use in design work as far as my experience tells, but you never know. Um, what I'm doing with Sweep is I have a path. In this case, I use the picture of a paperclip to help me lay out the path of the paperclip. And then I have a shape or a profile that follows the path. So you can see I drew a circle here. And the key to all of this is that the path that you're going to use to do something like this has to be up against a plane where you can draw a perpendicular shape to follow that path. Um, and here I'm going to show you a much simpler example in another part studio here where I started a sketch here. I'm just going to do this over again. Delete my sketch. I sketch on a plane and I start any of my sketch lines that I might use as a path. That can even be square angles like this. I click. You have to hit the escape key. I have to right click and escape because of my recording software. So you finish that sketch, and then you sketch on the plane perpendicular to it. So really, it's going to look like this in space. It's hard to see, but I have to draw my shape around that axis point. It's actually easier if I do this. And if I draw a circle here, that's all it's going to take. You'll see. If I now choose sweep, the faces and sketch regions to sweep is the face, this circle, sweep path. If I click in that red area, it's telling me click here, and now it's telling me to pick the path I'm going to travel with this shape. So you can do this with all sorts of shapes. It doesn't have to be a circular shape. You can do it with just about anything. This actually came to mind. Somebody was asking about doing a bicycle frame today. This is how you can do something like a bicycle. Now, if I back out of here, delete my sketches, and do this with a paperclip design, just to make something that's actually real and functional and blend tools together with something we've already done, we're going to sketch with an image. So we're going to select the top plane, sketch, and import a paperclip design. I will post it, or you can go out and find something that looks more like this that can work. Images, it's amazing how much you can use images to your example for all sorts of design work, in this case, paperclip. So when I put my image in, really, generally, I'm just dragging images and showing people how to trace and sometimes getting specific about it for 3D print purposes. In this case, I want to be very precise, actually, or really pretty close to precise. You can grab an image by just clicking anywhere in the middle of it and slide it around a screen. I want to zoom in, press my mouse wheel down so there's a center, and I can see where the bottom right part of this wire begins, and I want to lay that. It's better if you overlap a little bit, meaning having the bottom of the paperclip below the center point. But I need to start my path here at the center point and follow the line or the wire of the paperclip, and then I'm going to be drawing later my circle to follow it over here. In a design like this, I'm going to build in some quick tool tricks that show you how to draw with lines and things a little bit easier. I want to draw my first vertical line, just like so. Again, I have to right click and escape to get out of that line tool. You can hit escape on the keyboard at this point. Little trick with lines is if you're using lines a lot, you can use the L on the keyboard. If you hover over these tools, it'll show you in parentheses that there's sometimes a shortcut key for turning that tool on. So rather than clicking that every time, I can just hit the L button. But then the next thing, besides just turning this thing on with the L button, is you can align points in space. I'm going to draw another vertical line over here, and I want it to start at the same height as this one, so I can go over this top point of that line, get this dotted indicator that shows I'm at the right place in space. Click, drag down, and end this roughly where I want. I'm going to be using an arc to finish these off. Again, I'm going to hit the L now on my keyboard to turn this line tool back on. But I'm going to be pulling these arcs out with an arc tool, and I want these endpoints of these lines to be at the same place as horizontally in space. So I'm using these endpoint indicators to go, okay, I'm going to start this next wire piece going vertically here and go up with it. I'm going to right click and escape. I'm going to hit the L button to turn the line tool back on. I'm going to use this one here to go over and do my last vertical and have it stop right there. Right click and escape. You guys get the escape key on the keyboard. And then I've been talking about arcs in some of these cases in these videos. I'm going to use a 3-point arc specifically for this because I can click here and here on those two endpoints, pull a perfect arc, and then repeat that for wherever I need an arc. Now, as long as I put those endpoints at the right place, this does a great job. Reminder, when sketching over the top of a picture, it's always going to go away. It does not have to be a I drew right over the top of my picture. I forgot to put a new sketch over the top of this. But the point of this was the picture is just a general assistant. It doesn't have to be perfect, whatever you're drawing over the top of it. Now, I have my path that I just drew. If I click on this plane perpendicular to the path, sketch, circle, it's easier in this case to leave it off on an angle and just trust the program that you picked the right place in space. The only thing you have to watch out is if you're following along a path, this can't be so big that it runs into itself. Otherwise, mathematically, the program's going to yell at you. If you can see this, it's easier to see from the top, meaning the size of this circle can't be so big that it strikes itself when it follows a path. Otherwise, the program won't allow you to do that. So you have to pay attention to the size of this when you're doing a sweep. Anyway, I finished my second sketch, which is that circle, and I choose sweep. Choose the there's these menus. Whenever you see things going on in here, it's saying to do something, face and sketch region to sweep. Click that. Sweep path, I actually have to click here where it's red, and then I have to one by one click. I really wish I could turn the visibility of that picture off, but it'll go away in a second here. What I'm doing is I'm clicking around and having that circle follow my path. When I finish this, any imagery will go away for me, so I can make it at least look somewhat normal. Turn these planes off here. Right click, give it an interesting color. So that's your first sweep video. Relatively simple design. Again, it doesn't have to be nice and curved for this to work, and it doesn't have to be a circle for the shape. So it's a great fun thing to experiment with. There's a variety of things you can do with a sweep. Paperclip is simple and fun, you know it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Good luck, designers.